So hello everyone, and thanks for joining our crypto Christmas countdown. So we will be talking about trends and strategies for 2024. Now, I don't know about you, but wow, for me, 2023 has gone by pretty much in a blink. A very eventful year in cryptocurrency, very eventful. So let's see what 2024 has in store. Now, for tonight, we've got two speakers. So Dwayne Krill, that's myself. I'm a Wealth99 specialist. My specialty and the thing that I focus on the most is crypto safety. So being secure, having your digital assets in a secure place and insured, and be aware of online safety. Very, very important topic, especially in cryptocurrency. And I've got with me Steve McNamara. So he originally worked in actually mining and constructions, and then transitioned into coaching and business consulting, and very much with a passion for personal and professional growth. Now, Steve is actually a crypto investor himself, and he has been in this space since 2014. So that's really quite a long time. So certainly an early adopter. And he has a very sound understanding of markets and technical analysis. And of course, like all Wealth99 specialists, he is very community-minded, and he loves assisting new people navigate cryptocurrency and the crypto space. Now, of course, we have a disclaimer, and that's very important to understand that the information provided in this document and in the presentation here does not constitute investment advice, financial advice, or trading advice, any sort of advice, and you shouldn't treat any of this content as such. And Wealth99 does not recommend that any cryptocurrency should be bought, sold, or held by you, and nothing in this presentation should be taken as an offer to buy, sell, or hold cryptocurrency. Very important, as always, do your own due diligence and consult your financial advisor before making any investment decision. So what's on the agenda today? And for this, I'm going to hand over to Steve McNamara. So if you would please take over and let us know your thoughts. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for that lovely welcome there, Dee. And it is a Christmas special, so Merry Christmas to everyone, wherever you're tuning in from. It's great to have a Christmas where we have the markets, especially crypto, on the up out of what has been a very long bear market, as per usual. So I hope everyone is excited about not only Christmas and the Christmas break and everything like that, but what's coming in the new year. We do have an agenda tonight. It may not come in that particular order, but we're going to talk a little bit about the key trends driving the current market move. And if you have been connected to the market at all, you would have noticed that Bitcoin's been on the move, but there's a lot of other, what would you say, crypto assets out there that have been moving as well. And a lot of the time, Bitcoin gets all the news and all that sort of thing. So we're going to just go into some key trends driving the current market move. We're going to talk about some upcoming events and watch and their potential impact on crypto prices, and how can you best prepare for the upcoming bull run. I just want to have a quick chat because in my preparation for this, I had some fantastic tech issues, and I was sharing before the call. I think my wife said Mercury retrograde or something was happening and all this sort of thing, but I think that's how we roll here at Wealth99. We keep it real. We are human. We understand, and coming into this space can be very, very overwhelming. There's a lot of jargon. There's a lot of different ways and different ways you can take out in the information out there in the space. Again, it can be very overwhelming. And again, if you're not tech savvy, if you're new to the space, even the overcomplication of the language used in anything that's presented can be cause problems. So I'm going to do my very best, my job, to keep some simple information for you and just to break it down really, really easy to digest tonight. There's going to be a couple of visuals, and I know not only am I excited about what's to come in the space, being in the space since 2014, I've seen a lot come and go. I've seen the ups and downs. I've seen the cycles in play, and they say history never repeats, but it rhymes. And I think we've got a big rhyme going on at the moment with some key upcoming events and the key points in the cycle. So, Dee, if you could allow me to share my screen. Where are we? We don't want that one. Were you able to see that screen there?
Yes, I'm seeing the presentation. Yes, so it's not in presentation mode yet, but
okay.
Blue Ocean bundle.
Oh, I'm having so much fun.
Yes, now it's going in full screen mode.
All right, cool. Thank you for that. Hopefully that's not a precursor for what's to come. Anyway, I want to just touch on some of the key events because they're all in the news. Depends whether you're taking in any information on Twitter or X, social media, or you're Googling, or you're out and about and people are talking crypto. Wherever you're taking information, there's a lot of talk about this ETF, about a Bitcoin ETF and spot ETF. And to be honest, there's so much information out there and there's so many different ways to take this in. I thought it'd be really, really valuable for everyone on here to just touch on a couple of these events that are coming up that everyone's talking about, but break it down really simply. First and foremost, what is an ETF? And I've got to say, I'm very, very grateful for tools as Google and ChatGPT. I'm all about simplification, about using the tools out there. And I'd like to thank ChatGPT for breaking this one down really simple for us. An exchange-traded fund, an ETF, is a mix of mutual fund and a stock traded on stock exchanges like regular stocks. ETFs let investors buy and sell shares all day at market prices. These funds typically follow the performance of an index, commodity, bond, or a group of assets, giving investors diverse exposure to a specific market. They are transparent, keyword, regularly revealing their holdings, and they provide a cost-effective way for investors to access a broad market exposure without buying individual securities. Now that goes on there, and it just says ETFs are popular for their liquidity, transparency, and cost effectiveness in the financial markets. Now, if I shift now to what is the Bitcoin ETF, this is really important to understand because we have traditional markets with their ETFs, which I'll just give a quick breakdown now. And there's all this talk about a spot ETF coming. And it's going to be very different. Now, it's still speculation, and it is meant to come out in early January. Some of the big mutual funds have applications in, and a lot of the price movement that we have seen is definitely due to a lot of the hype around that coming up. Now, why is there hype around this spot ETF? Now, there's different types of ETFs already. There's futures ones, which simply is you can sort of bet on the future price of an ETF. Very different than this. I'm going to just go through the key points here, and if the writing is big enough to see, definitely take note of this. A Bitcoin exchange traded fund is a financial product that allows investors to gain exposure to the price movements of Bitcoin without directly owning or managing the cryptocurrency. Now, one of the big things in the space is because crypto has been an up and coming space, it is still relatively early on compared to traditional assets, and it has been up until recently seen as too risky for, let's say, traditional investors and these funds to have any mechanisms to purchase. But this changes with the spot ETF. So similar to traditional ETFs, a Bitcoin ETF is traded on stock exchanges, enabling investors to buy and sell shares throughout the trading day. The ETF typically holds Bitcoin as part of its underlying assets and aims to track the cryptocurrency's price performance. This provides a regulated and more accessible way for investors to invest in Bitcoin compared to purchasing and managing the cryptocurrency on their own. Now, this doesn't impact us. This is not a presentation to say, hey, we're getting into the ETF. This is only one of the key events that is definitely having an impact on the price. It's very important to understand. There's a lot of hype and everything out there, but I think a lot of the hype people don't understand what this is all about. The introduction of a Bitcoin ETF has been significant in bringing a level of mainstream acceptance to the cryptocurrency market and offers investors a more familiar investment vehicle for participating in the potential gains or losses associated with Bitcoin. Now, a Bitcoin ETF approval would act as a bridge into the traditional financial system, opening the door for billions, if not trillions of dollars of capital to move into the space. Now, a really key point to understand here is I'm going to talk about another big event that generally, as history shows, has a positive impact on price, but we're not talking about a lot of money coming on the date that this is announced. Whether they do approve it or they don't, the speculation is building up. Being a bridge to traditional financial markets, not only is Bitcoin then accepted by the traditional financial system, it opens it up for Wall Street investors, people who wouldn't invest in it. And the amount of capital that is there to come into the space over the next 5 to 10 years, it is unmeasurable. And something that's really important, and I'll go into the next slide, and it ties in with the Bitcoin halving, is this supply-demand shock. Now, it's really, really important to understand if you've got the potential of billions of dollars to come in over the next 5 to 10 years, but there is only 21 million Bitcoin can ever be mined, there's a finite amount. So it's already scarce. Not only that, over the last year or so, there's been more Bitcoin taken off exchanges and held in personal wallets and in custody than ever before. So the supply demand shock that's going to come if this ETF is approved, or when it's approved, people are getting their Bitcoin and holding it. Now, another key point while I'm talking about Bitcoin, and if any of you guys have been on any of the presentations I've done throughout the year, I've always said I talk about Bitcoin because it's people how they feel in the marketplace, market sentiment. And when I get to the end, you're going to see how this impacts the cycle, because it does have a positive impact on the rest of the marketplace. So keeping in mind the supply demand, you've got billions, if not trillions of dollars that are going to come in. They need to buy Bitcoin and have it. Say you've got a BlackRock. I think they have like $9 trillion of assets already under management, and they bring out this spot ETF. If only a small percentage of that is going to be, okay, we're going to have this Bitcoin ETF and we're going to hold it, and then investors in the space want to buy this through their fund and trade it as a fund, they have to buy the Bitcoin and hold it to be able to do that. That's very different than a traditional ETF, where they can literally work in tandem with banks and make a loan against collateral. This time they have to hold the Bitcoin, so they need to get that Bitcoin from somewhere. There's a lot of talk in the space that they've been buying up for the last few years, but we're talking 5 to 10 years of billions of dollars. If there is a finite amount of Bitcoin at only 21 million, not including the people who have lost their keys and lost their hardware wallets and that over the years, that is a scarce asset. And there's going to be a lot of demand for that coming in over a period of time, which potentially will have an highly probable a positive impact on that. So the Bitcoin halving is another event, and you may or may not have heard of the 4-year cycle. The Bitcoin halving is a lot to do with this. So the Bitcoin halving is a predetermined event that occurs approximately every 4 years as part of Bitcoin's protocol. During a halving, the reward that miners receive for validating and adding new blocks to the blockchain is cut in half. This reduction in block rewards serves to limit the total supply of Bitcoin, as only 21 million Bitcoin can ever be mined. The halving events are programmed to occur every 210,000 blocks. The last block, I'm pretty sure, was in May. This one is due to come sometime near the end of April. And so that's roughly every 4 years until the maximum supply is reached. Most recent Bitcoin halving took place in May 2020, reducing the reward from 12.5 to 6.25 Bitcoins per block. Halvings are closely monitored by the cryptocurrency community due to their potential impact on the supply and demand dynamics, often influencing Bitcoin's price and market dynamics. Again, we're going to supply demand shock. Really important to understand. And the circles that I hang out and have for a long time, and people I've been talking to a lot, it's they're not selling their Bitcoin. They would rather sell their car at this point. And each to their own, but you can see why. These are two major events that are definitely having an impact on the price right now. And going forward, coming into this next part of the cycle, they are definitely going to have an impact. So what impact has the halving had on the price? So the Bitcoin halving typically exerts upward pressure on the price of Bitcoin due to its impact on the supply dynamics. A halving event occurring every 4 years, as I've touched on, the diminishing supply coupled with consistent or growing demand. I've mentioned one of the impacts, the spot ETF, that has definitely the potential for a much larger demand for Bitcoin. It leads to an imbalance that can drive the price higher. Historically, previous halving events have been associated with significant price rallies for Bitcoin as reduced issuance highlights the asset's scarcity. However, it's important to note that while the halving is a notable event, various factors, including market sentiment, I've mentioned that. That's why I talk about Bitcoin, because market sentiment is really important with what happens for the rest of the cycle. Regulatory developments and macroeconomic conditions also contribute to Bitcoin's price movements. There's always a lot in the news around the US with regulators, the SEC, all these sorts of things. Yes, they have an impact, but we've also got to remember that cryptocurrency is global. Bitcoin is global. And you look more towards the Asian markets that's going to have an impact. Yes, the spot ETFs and everything in the US, but that's just one of the current events that's going to impact that coming in. A lot of the money and a lot of the movements, especially at this time of the cycle, it's coming from the Asian markets. Now, as such, the relationship between the halving and Bitcoin's price is complex, and the market participants closely analyze a range of factors to understand potential price trends. Now, I went digging for a chart, so I didn't have to put this one together. So shout out to TA Trader Ellen. It's a really cool visual. I hope everyone can see that. It correlates the halvings. It gives the green boxes give the bull run, and then you see accumulation phases where it moves sideways. The little red boxes show 4 months before halvings, where they are in correlation in the year. You can go right back here to 2013, that first yellow dotted line is, so the first halving. Then you've got the second halving with the little red box before it, followed by the green box in 2016, 2017 in the middle there. 2020 for the third one, and not only in 2020, while we're talking about big events that could potentially impact price movements and market sentiment, that was, remember that when COVID happened, there was a big pullback, but that was technically the start of the bull run. The third halving and the potential for the fourth halving. Now, again, we don't know what the future holds, but these charts are very, very similar. They are very, very similar, and with the potential of a lot more money to come in, I think it's really important to take note. And just to sort of segue into how to best prepare for these upcoming events, having some sort of exposure in the space with your own due diligence and doing your own research and talking to a financial professional to have yourself like positioned for what's to come. I think it's really important. Now, if history does repeat, Bitcoin price moves. Now, the leading alts move. Now, some of the leading alts we would talk about Ethereum. Ethereum is a lot newer than Bitcoin, but in the last few years, there has so much built on it. There's layer 2s, there's then the application layers. There is so much on it now. It is a very, very big ecosystem. But in the last part of the 4-year cycle, it was a lot more speculative. It had a few things in play, but the project has come a long way. So this cycle, it's a solid, it's probably gone from what we call your blue ocean, a little bit more risk, not as far along the journey in their evolution, to now it's gone to more a solid investment or a solid asset with the likes of Bitcoin. So what happens in this cycle, you would have had the last cycle, you've got your Solanas, you've got your Polkadots, you've got these sorts of projects that they were at an infant phase in the last cycle. They were more speculative, but what they've been able to do in the period up to now, they've been able to move on in their evolution and be at a stage where Ethereum, if you were to give a comparison, was at the last cycle. So if you look at this and the Bitcoin price moves, whether it's people taking profits, whether it's people looking for other investments to diversify, other assets to have in their portfolio as they build wealth, the leading alts move. So they'll position themselves with them. And then what goes on then, the attention goes to potential moon coins. Potential coins, we've seen how in a bull market, certain assets can move very, very rapidly, especially if they are a good project with already some runs on the board. So with this in mind, I just wanted to touch on the Blue Ocean bundle. I love what we have at Wealth99. It keeps it so simple around building wealth. And I've taken this straight from the app. I hope for all of you who are already members with Wealth99 have got the app. It is fantastic. It is so simple to use, and it breaks down everything here. And the Blue Ocean bundle, Crypto 4.0 is the next wave of blockchain technology where crypto meets Web3 to overcome problems only blockchain technology can solve. So when we're talking about crypto, it's often overlooked. It's the technology behind it that's making all the difference. It's the blockchain technology. And these Blue Ocean coins, again, some of them I've mentioned there. You've got Solana, Avalanche, Polkadot, Cardano. And these are proof of stake coins, very similar to Ethereum, and they provide solutions right across the board. And again, they are sustainable proof of stake protocols. And if anyone caught the news earlier in the year, there are a lot of crypto coins that, with the Ripple case that came out, that are probably not sustainable. And we're going to see as one of the market events maybe coming in the next year or so, we're going to see some more shifts with the regulatory landscape with a lot of them coins. But for these ones, they're already well used. They're big ecosystems, and you're going to see them as the ones that a lot of people are, as my screen goes black. That's not meant to happen. It was going too good. Maybe it's telling me to slow down.
all good, Steve. We had a few people dropping in and out of the call, so you're not on your own here with the tech.
That's all right.
Tech issues.
I'm actually so surprised that I'm cruising through this. But again, it's as I said earlier, it's all about keeping what's to come simple. There is so much information in the space. If you get caught up in the news events, it can be a day-to-day thing. Now, I did have a clip earlier of I don't even remember his name, the head of JP Morgan, and him sitting in the Senate hearing in the US saying a Bitcoin should be gone, they all should be gone, and here they are behind the scenes positioning themselves for what's to come coming forward. It's an example of the news and how one of the things that's going to help you move forward, not only giving yourself exposure to what's to come in such an exciting space, but it is to be able to just have the ability to switch off from the emotion that's placed out there in the news cycle, and in your process of your due diligence, really sit down with a plan going forward. I think it's really, really important. Going on to here, and if you could bring up them other two slides, that'd be fantastic, and you can share. Oh, awesome. We've got our gremlins, just keeping it real. Cool. Now I've touched on the Blue Ocean. I've got the blue chip bundle there. I'll touch on that for a bit. And here's the thing. I think over my experience since 2014, seeing the bull markets in crypto come and go, seeing big price moves, I think a lot of people can sort of switch off from the comparisons compared to traditional asset classes out there. And it's one thing that I feel, even though in the past the crypto space has been seen as really risky, with what I've chatted there about now with the projects that have really been able to do the work and evolve over the last few years, coming into now, it always brings the risk down more. But the difference in gains, this is a blue chip bundle we have here, which is your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and your Litecoin. Litecoin being one of the oldest coins. It was definitely one of the first coins I owned back in 2014 when when I wasn't so tech savvy. But you have a look at this. This is just performance of our blue chip bundle since September 18, 2023. That's up 45%. And I think that's what, September 18, a day or two ago. Versus the ASX, the NASDAQ, and bonds. Now that's big gains. That's just in 3 months. And if you could bring up the other slide there, D. Now I've touched on the blue ocean. Blue ocean mean there's a world of opportunity out there. Anything is possible. And the coins in the blue ocean, again, the Solanas, the Cardanos, the Polkadots. The last 3 months, they're up nearly 150%. Now, yes, the markets have been moving up recently. You could say off the back of the news around Bitcoin and all that sort of thing, you could say it's to do with the current stage of the cycle we're in. I know if I go back to 2019, 2020 and that time, there was lots of movement at this part of the cycle as well. If I go back 4 years before then, there was a lot of movement at this part of the cycle around then too. But if you even go back over the last 12 months, I'm pretty sure it's about 300%. And do I share that? Like, if that performance of that over the last 3 years is around 900%, I don't think I'm allowed to share that. That's why we don't have it as a slider. I might get in trouble for sharing that. But what I would invite everyone to ground into is, if this is at an early stage of the next cycle, the market impact, the impact that's had on the market from the upcoming, say, spot ETF, the halving and everything that comes with that, as the market sentiment improves, this here, we're only just at the early part of the cycle. Now, I never say that everything's going to move in a straight line. I really feel going forward, and we feel that it's going to continue to be volatile, the space, absolutely. But there are a lot of positive things happening in the space, not only right now. There has been this whole deep, dark bear market. And if you look at these gains in the last 3 months, you could even say that it's crept up on us a bit already. And comparing that to any other asset class, you could say right there. Cool. So how to best prepare for what's to come. Now, I've touched on this a little bit as I've gone through. I didn't know if you wanted to touch a little bit on security or anything like that, D, but I know what's been made abundantly clear over the last 4-year cycle, that security is A1. That would be the first place I'm looking at. If you're new to the space, it'd be one of the first things you'd be doing your due diligence on. Definitely having a plan going forward. Being conscious of where you get your information on. And I think the most important step to take going forward is to actually take action on something. Because where we are now, with the way the cycles have progressed over the last 4 years, moving into a lot of these, there's going to be about 20 coins in the space that are really going to take a hold. And after the next 4-year cycle, you don't want to be the one that's sitting there going, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. So now's your opportunity definitely to take some action. And yeah, we've got a little bit to share towards the end anyway. That's about all from me, D. I did have some other slides and charts, but again, my gremlins got me, my computer gremlins got me, and I'm trusting that was for a reason. I'm all about simplification because it makes the journey a lot easier. So
yeah, thanks. Thanks so much for all that information. It's excellent. I think a lot of people learn something new. and certainly interested in pursuing cryptocurrency in 2024. Now, yes, gremlins. We had a few gremlins today, also time-wise, and other issues that were rising prior to the call. So just happy that, again, what you showed us, there was excellent information. I did see a few questions in the chat. So there was a couple of comments and questions, and thanks for that. In regards to that, we refer you to actually get in touch with your Wealth99 specialist. So what is a Wealth99 specialist? So obviously Steve is a specialist, myself as well. And there's a few other specialists on the call. We are assisting everyday investors to navigate very complex world of cryptocurrency and alternative assets. Obviously, we are not financial advisors or wealth coaches, but we are here to answer questions and offer you support on the Wealth99 platform. So get in contact with your Wealth99 specialist. If you do not have one, then you can simply go to the Wealth99 website, and there is a support button. You choose specialists, and then you can book in a meeting with one of the specialists. Do you want to drop the link into the chat box, maybe?
I'm going to drop that link in here right now, and just to let everyone know, that's obligation free. Jump on if you've got questions. And I think there's so much information in the space that I can share, like even putting together a presentation like this. I know Dee and myself and the other specialists are a wealth of knowledge. We've got the option there to just get in touch with us. If you've already got a specialist, get in touch with them. Any questions you've got are relative to you, which I think is really important going forward. You've got your questions, and if you can bring them to the call in 15 minutes, answer your questions directly, and away we go.
Yes, thanks, Steve. So with all that being said, thank you very much for joining, and have a Merry Christmas and a fantastic 2024 with cryptocurrency. Have a good night.